Ooh, what secret alien treasures lie through here? Oh, no, 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 no. Spikes. Why is it always spikes? Ah, verticality. Now this I like. Haha, take that, fiends. It is I who shall loot these Welkin stones. Oh dear, that's a lich, that's a lich. Back away, back away. Poisonous gas now. This can't be the end. Are you a fan of the Aeolid experience in Oblivion? Do you wish there were just a few more elven ruins in Morrowind besides those dusty old Dwemer Huts? Well, today's Mod of the Day will sate that Aeolid crave with a dungeon romp through darkened halls of death and decay, filled with vast troves of Welkin stones, and more than a few traps to keep you on your guard. For today, we're showcasing Neslia Remade by Marquand, a dungeon mod set in the snow-ridden lands of Solstheim, where you'll discover a new Aeolid ruin hidden in the glacial north. As you begin your dungeon delve, you'll find the upper halls of Nalcelia are occupied, where a hostile expedition of bandits and looters have set up camp, no doubt seeking for themselves the treasures of this ancient Aeolid outpost. Armed with blades and bows, they'll put up a bit of a fight, but they won't be much of a challenge for a seasoned adventurer. But to progress through these dark depths, you'll need to find a key. And this encounter might be just a tad more dangerous, for this key is guarded by a swarm of elemental Welkin spirits. Now, before we dive too far into our showcase here, it is worth mentioning that this is actually a remake of the famed dungeon delving mod, The Neverhalls by Valty 7 and Midget Alien. It was originally intended as only an update, utilizing the assets of Tamriel Data and Province Cyrodiil to give this old mod a new shine. But instead, Marquand just ended up rebuilding the entire dungeon. And as a comparison, you can see the Neverhalls here. And really, the two mods are just almost completely different. Developed back in the late aughts, the Neverhalls didn't really have the benefit of the asset repositories that we have today. Instead, while it was supposed to be a former dungeon inspired by Aeolid design, it ended up using a retextured data tileset. You can kind of see how the layout of the first set of rooms here is almost the same. But there's notably some key differences, and there's no question that Neslia Remade does a better job of capturing that Aeolid feel. Though, that's not to bash the Neverhalls. The Neverhalls is still pretty good. I mean, it was one of the most popular dungeon mods in the community for quite a long time. Elected to the Hall of Fame in 2008 with over 20,000 downloads. And the experience still, for the most part, holds up pretty well today. Fun fact, back in 2017, I actually listed the Neverhalls as the third best dungeon mod for Morrowind in our top 10 dungeon mods video. But, oh my, the modding community has changed just, an awful lot since then. If we were to redo our top 10 dungeon mods list today, most of those original mods would no longer make the cut. The quality standards of the community have just improved dramatically since 2017, as have the number of new mod releases, which, is a good problem to have, especially if you're a fan of dungeon delves, which of course I am. I have thought about doing a new top 10 dungeon mods list, but honestly, it'd probably just end up being a top 10 list of Sealoft mods. I mean, Sealoft is the dungeon daddy of Morrowind. But anyway, just, getting back to the mod that we're actually showcasing today, Neslia is a sizable dungeon, a delve of occasional maze-like hallways that open up into larger chambers, often filled with traps and enemies. Across 8 atmospherically gorgeous dungeon interiors, you'll face bandits, mages, skeletons, atronachs, zombies, necromancers, and even a final boss battle with an Ayleid Sorcerer King. All the hallmarks of the classic Ayleid ruins and Oblivion are here. From pit traps where the floor just suddenly gives way beneath you, red glowing crystals that herald deadly spells, to tons of welcome stones, Ayleid containers, and lots of loot for you to hold. The environments here are absolutely stellar. If it wasn't for the UI and the NPCs, you might think you were playing through an actual Oblivion dungeon. The Province Cyrodiil team has done just an outstanding job with creating these new Ayleid assets. And personally, I can't wait for the Anvil release, just so we can play through more of these Ayleid ruins. They're getting closer to release, so maybe in another year or so. But in any event, Neslia provides just a fun and fantastic Ayleid delve, with a full suit of Ayleid armor and Ayleid weapons as your final reward, which you can see here. I believe this is all actually from Tamriel data, but devil if it doesn't look good, and heaven knows there's not a whole lot of mods out there that take advantage of the Ayleid assets. Neslia Remade is simply a fantastic remake and reimagining of one of Morrowind's classic dungeon mods, giving you just a whole new dungeon delving experience that perfectly embodies the charm of Ayleid design. And with support for both Vanilla Morrowind and Solstheim Tomb of the Snow Prince, there's absolutely no reason not to give it a try. But anyway, that's our mod of the day. So, as always, I've been your host, Golfguy. Thanks for watching, stay safe, stay healthy, happy modding, and I'll see you all next time.